What is up, people? As you probably read by the fucking title, we're gonna be making a Sharingan today. Yay! And apparently, it looks like this. That's very cool. I know. So cool. Amazing. Anyway, so basically, I have not got any footage for this, so I'm going to go to YouTube and actually search for footage. But hopefully, if you're making this effect, you already have your footage. So I'm going to go do that right now, and then we will be back. So we just search guy looking toward camera stock footage, you know, because that's the most basic shit. Yeah, I did search this earlier, as you can see. I've been watching some stuff. And I feel like out of all the stuff I have gone with, that one would be funny. That would be hilarious, actually. I'm not going to lie. But no, we're going to take this more seriously. I think I'm going to go with this one because it's pretty nice. It's very simple, but it do the job, you know. This one's going to be probably really hard to work with, but I think that's what we want. We want something that's hard to work with so that I can kind of really show off this effect in its true form, you know. So we're just going to pirate this video from the internet because that is what we do. Of course, we're going to download this in high definition. Alright, so that's downloading. And it is downloaded. Very good, very nice. Okay, the next thing, which is probably the most important thing to you. Forget about the stock footage, that's cool, I guess. But basically we need to go into Google and we just need to search. I'm going to go with the Naruto Sharingan because that's kind of the one I want. So I'm just going to search that. We're going to go images and... obviously, we're going to change the search out to Naruto Sharingan PNG because that's what we need. And I think this one right here will do. I don't know if it'll let me download it in a PNG if I just go to the website. I think it will. Actually, if we go... yeah, let's go back into that website and we'll just go back a minute. We can hit download all sizes. And it'll give me a link. So if we open... alright, we're going to copy that and we're just going to paste it into here. And then that's basically just going to work. I don't know. So we will. Oh wait, I don't know if you can download it from there. Anyway, no, you can't. So basically, if we can't download this one, then all we have to do is just go back to our search and try and find another one. This one's pretty flat though, so I would say this one would work really well. I'm not gonna lie. So if we can get this one, let's see if we can actually get. Well, actually, somewhere already in my photos, like right here, I already have one downloaded. I think it's the same exact one. Yeah, it is. I don't remember how I downloaded it, but what I will do just to make everyone's life easier is I'll just link that in the description using Google Drive, so that'll be cool. So you can download that there if you need it. Anyway, let's actually try and get into making the effect now, yeah? Now that we've got our Sharingan thing. Yeah, let's do it. So we need to go into After Effects, we're going to create a new composition, but we're not going to do it like that. What we're going to do is we're going to go to here. We're going to go to that video I downloaded, so it should be in my videos. It should be... okay, video downloader, there it is. Right, so we'll drag that in. Once After Effects does its thing and reads it, we're just going to drag this video into new composition. Now we have it, very good, very nice. So there's our video. And then we're going to go back to here, wherever our Sharingan is, and we're just going to drag that into there. Now we have that. Very good, very nice. So that's all we need. So first of all, we need to do a few things. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrub along just a little bit, because what we want to be able to do is be able to see her eyes, right? So that's important, obviously. So what we're going to do is going to start off by going Layer, New... null object. I believe we need the null. I don't know if we need the null, but it's there, so now we know it's there. We're going to go back to this clip. We're going to right click. We're going to go to track and stabilize track motion. Now it will give us this little thingy thing. So we're going to do some things here. We're going to bring this window a little bit larger so you can see what I'm doing. Basically, we're going to move this thing around onto our eye. We need to put that center point right on the dead center point of our eye, right? And then we're just going to drag this outer box out like by holding these little corners. Same with the inner box, so that we've got our eye there. I might move it a little bit as well, just to make it more central, which would be useful. But obviously we need to make sure the center of that is the center of the Sharingan, because this is where it's going to track from the center. So it'll make sense later, but anyway, make sure it's dead center to the pupil of our eye. Right. Now that we've got that, we're just going to go to this little thing here. I'm going to edit the target and set it to null. And I'm going to hit OK, and then we're just going to track forward by pressing this Analyze Forward button. So obviously now it's going to do some things. It's going to start analysing, following the eye, and then once it's done, I will get back to you. So as you can probably see every now and then, when her eyelid closes as she's blinking, everything starts to get a bit weird. So we are going to have to go through and manually fix that, because obviously that's going to be an issue, but we'll figure it out soon. We'll figure that bit out soon. It depends on what your clip is doing. Is it blinking? Are you not blinking? Is your eye straight? So it would be best if you don't blink, just so you don't have these issues. And anyway, she started to close her eyes, so I'm done with this clip for what I want. You know, your clip might be a little bit different. But anyway, there is another issue. So if we go just before our tracking here, we have this issue because it's now, you know, obviously it's not tracked here. So we're going to have to fix that, but I'll show you how. It's very simple. But it is important that you start to track as early as possible, as soon as the eyes are open and visible. Now we're going to hit apply, because this should apply dimensions X and Y to the null object and create a transform thing. So now we can use that as a position. Very good, very nice. Right, so we need to go back to the start of these keyframes on this. Very start. So now we have them. We're going to drag in our Sharingan image just over the top here. That's fine, don't worry about it. We'll fix it in a minute. So basically we're just going to take these position keyframes, click on it, Control C to copy them. And then we're going to go back to our Sharingan here, and we're just going to Control V to paste those. So now it should follow the eye. Very nice. How are we going to get it to fit into the eye though? Because it looks weird, doesn't it? We're not just going to have a Sharingan covering a face. So basically the way we're going to fix this face following thing is we're going to go inside of the Sharingan here. We're just going to drop down this menu. We need to understand a few things here. A few important things, right? We do need to make sure that this is centered to our keyframes. Otherwise it's going to look odd, because we did do the center of the eye as our main point. So basically we just need to scale it down, scale it entirely down. And now we need a way to visualize this. So basically the way we're going to see, it's not like perfectly in the eye, because obviously we did it a little bit differently. So we need a way to visualize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to soft light to begin with. And I'm going to turn down the opacity just a little bit to about 60%, right? We need to change out the anchor point. This is what we need to be working with here. As we change the anchor point, it will start to make more sense. Received a notification on Snapchat. Anyway, let's forget about that. So what we're going to do is just change out the anchor point here until it fits with the eye properly, and just mess about with the scale if you like, just so it fits more with the eye. We can do 5.5. Yes, you can do increments if you need to. I might do 5.1, and that's perfect. So now we can turn the opacity back up. And about blending modes, I believe soft light is the main one we should be going with here, so make sure you do actually set your blend mode to soft light, because that's what looks the most realistic. Okay, so we've kind of got a Sharingan, as you can see. It looks decent. I'm just going to turn off the null object because it's in the way, so you can do that if you want. Okay, that looks half decent. There is a few things we need to do to fix this up. We're going to go here, we're going to go to Effects and Presets, and we're going to search Glow. And we're going to add that to this thing right here. So now that we've got the glow effect on there, we're going to play about with the glow radius, because we need to turn that up a little bit. We're going to bring up the glow threshold to about 87%. It brings the glow away from the center and more to the edges, which is nice. And then we can play with the glow intensity. Now the glow intensity is the important part, because this is what's going to make our Sharingan look more realistic. So you can see that glow just kind of adds a little bit in like calm blur to the edges, which helps out quite a lot. And if you play with the threshold here, it actually messes about with how much red to black there is, so that's kind of an important little thing there. So just play about that as much as you want. So that's, we're pretty much done with that. That looks good. It looks a little bit smoother, less harsh, a little bit, you know, smoother and like, I don't know, more calm on the eye. And also, since we were talking about blur, we are going to actually add some blur. So we're going to search blur, and we're going to go with fast box blur right here. Just drag it on. Okay, this one we're going to have to do... We're not going to add a lot of this. We're going to add just a little bit of blur. You can add literally like blur radius about 2. So not a lot of blur because obviously we want it to still be sharp, but enough blur just to make it look blended and more realistic. So that's good enough. And now obviously this doesn't look that great, you know, because it's literally covering a fucking eyelash. So we're going to have to fix that in a moment. How are we going to fix that though? So basically, let's be smart and go all the way back to the start of our clip here. Let's just find the point by going down, dropping this down. We can see where our transform begins. This is where we're going to begin everything. Right here on this keyframe. What we're going to do is we're going to take our original footage right here, Control D to duplicate, and we're going to drag it over the top. Now we're going to go up to the pen tool up here and we're just going to create a mask and we're just going to start applying it to this footage. And we're just going to apply it over where our eyelash is, right? Or your eye in this case, whatever you're doing. And we're just going to literally create a small little mask like that, and that's all you need to do. Obviously it doesn't look that great, it looks shit because it's so sharp. So we need to drop this down and go to masks, mask number 1, and we just need to bring up the feather slightly. Do not bring that feather up more than slightly because it's going to look shit if you don't. So we can also do mask expansion just to bring it slightly away from the eye, just a little bit. And just make sure it just you know, mess about with it until it looks smooth. So that looks alright, that looks fine, you know. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this mask and go to the mask path and just click this to set a keyframe. We're just going to move along a few frames, right? And as we do that, we're just going to move this upwards. It's so simple. It's so easy. We're just going to keep doing it like that, not actually messing about with anything unless we really need to. If we need to edit these points, what we can do, we can hold down shift, click a point, and that will allow us to now control that single point. But we don't need to do that. We can just keep doing this for now. But yeah, if you need to do it, just do that and that will make your life a little bit easier. So let's just go in between these keyframes as well and make sure we are actually getting in this full range of motion just to make sure we aren't missing a single thing. Otherwise it will look terrible and we want it to look great, obviously. So just keep dragging this to the exact edge of our eyelash in my instance, or in your instance it may not be an eyelash, it may just be the top of your eyelid. So we just need to do that for the entirety of this clip. So I'm just going to keep doing that and I will get back to you once I am done. Okay, so I'm going through here and just this small little thing here where she starts blinking and the tracking goes, wait, what do I do? This is the type of stuff we're going to have to work on fixing in my instance. You may not have to do it, but obviously I have to, so I'm going to go through it with you and just how to fix that. Okay, so right here our eye starts to change just a little bit, so we just need to manually go in and just kind of edit that keyframe just a little bit just to make it look smoother. That's what I'm talking about. If anything starts to move too much, just manually go in and fix it to make it look a little bit nicer. So even if somebody's eye is blinking during this, do make sure you actually follow the eye because we just want to make sure it's absolutely perfect even though that is happening. I would hope in your clips you are obviously not blinking because this is a Sharingan and we just need to like really focus on it, but obviously if there's blinking then we need to focus in on that just a little bit more. I'm almost done with this anyway, so I'm going to continue, then like I said I will get back to you. Just want to explain these little details, you know, to do with the blinking and stuff, just so you know. Okay, so I'm done with all my tracking for the eyes. Let's see how it looks. It looks pretty good. Obviously we have those few issues with the blinking, but we're going to fix them in a moment. But as you can see, it's no longer over the top of the eyelash, which looks nice. So now to fix the blinking, we need to go to the points where it starts blinking. And we're just going to go down to our Sharingan layer here. And we also need to fix a few things. So to fix the blinks, what I would suggest doing is just go to the position keyframes and just change them out if you have to. Like that's the most basic way, but it's the most nice way because it's not going to like cause you any more issues than you need. Just by doing that simple little thing right there. Because obviously your eyes being now like you've got the top bit masked out, so it's just gonna kind of like fall into that like really nicely, you know. So if you just do that for each time this person blinks, then it's going to look a bit nicer. So we're just going to do that. I would change the scale here, but like I haven't keyframed the scale, so I won't worry about it right now, but I'm just going to check my keyframes. So obviously if you are going to edit the position, just make sure you haven't got the keyframes all selected at once, because if you do, it's going to cause you an issue, and we don't want that. Just make sure you do actually select like a single keyframe, because we don't want issues. So the way you do that is when you're not actually on position, just like select the keyframe right on position. Because if you just select position itself, it's going to select every single keyframe. Do take note of that. And then we can just keep going through keyframe by keyframe and just changing the position of it to make it match the eye. It's a bit tedious, it's really annoying, but if you just take your time with it, in the end this is going to look really cool, and obviously we're making the Sharingan, so we want a cool result, don't we? So just doing all this is worth it. And obviously here we have an issue with the scale of the Sharingan to the actual eye. So what I'm going to do is just set a scale keyframe, go back one, add to that keyframe, and then go forward one and add to that keyframe. And I'm just going to change the scale here just a little bit to maybe 5.3. Just to scale it to the eye, because we want it to look good. So if you need to do that, just do that whenever you need to, you know. It's not a very important detail, it's not massive, but like if you get that done, it's going to look nice, obviously. So let's do it here as well, because it looks a little bit off. So 5.3, and it looks nice. So now when she blinks, it should look very nice. There we are. It looks a little bit smoother. Obviously, I feel like there's a few things right here where it needs editing, because like that just kind of jumps a little bit. So let's do that. Just go to the position keyframe, not the entire thing, otherwise we'll have issues, like I say. And just move that position just to match the eye. And then it should smoothly come back in by itself. So if we just zoom out, let's see how that looks. Okay, that's nice. So we're going to go back to effects and presets, and we're going to search brightness and contrast. This is very important, because based on your clip might be a little bit different. It might be brighter, it might be darker. So we need to adjust to that. So if we just start by adjusting the brightness of the Sharingan, not hair, eye. Make sure you do drag it on the right layer, unlike me. So let's delete that. And now that it's on the correct layer, we can start doing brightness of the Sharingan just to bring it either up or down to make it look better or worse, right? But just make sure you put the brightness and contrast before the glow, so it affects the entire thing, doesn't affect after the glow, because if it affects after the glow, it's going to look weird, as you can clearly just see like a second ago. So we can just mess about with this, and I brought it down about 52. I would say maybe about -30 for this clip. It might be different for your clip. But yeah, that looks just a little bit nicer, as you can see. So based on whatever your clip is, bright, dark, just adjust the brightness on this, and yeah, it'll start to look a little bit nicer. And I feel like out of all the steps of this entire thing, doing that right there with the brightness is probably the most important, because a lot of people don't do it. They just leave it, and then they have this super bright Sharingan eye just over like a really dark clip, and it just looks like shit. Now if you really want to do a few more things, you can just go back to effects and presets and search light, and you could search something like light burst and just drag it on there, and just leave it at like the default preset, and that just adds a little bit more blur to the edges, so you don't have such a harsh black edge. You actually have just like a smoother, I don't know, more blurred edge. Or you can bring down the realness just a little bit if you want as well, just to get like just a little bit smoother, or you can bring it up if you're insane. You can even bring the intensity, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, what I would say is just use that as like a small little after effect, just to kind of, you know, blur those black edges and just make it look a little smoother. Okay, so After Effects has crashed on me a few times now, and I'm obviously not going to go back in and do every single thing, but I did have a little bit of the project saves, but I just don't have the thing where I masked out her entire eyelid and put it over the top. It doesn't matter, you've already seen that part, you know how to do that. We're going to start working on this bit, bringing her eye in from the bottom. So what we need to do is we need to go back to our Sharingan layer here, and we need to go to this first keyframe, because basically this is our point. If we want, we can go to the markers here and we can literally add a marker to it if need be. It's kind of useful to have that. So we need to start here. We're going to go to Effects and Presets, and we're going to add Basic 3D onto the Sharingan layer. But what I'm going to do, just to make everything back in line, is I'm going to add my light burst back onto there, just so it makes more sense. So I've got light burst 2.5 back on there, looks alright. So basically, basic 3D-ly, we need to animate this. So we're going to set swivel and tilt to one side, and we're just going to move backwards a bit. I'm going to hold down the space bar just to move around with our hand here. And then basically we're going to animate the tilt just a little bit. Swivel goes left and right, tilt goes up and down. So I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit, maybe about 9. And then here I'm going to animate the transform position on here. So we can just animate that, you see. And we're just going to make that follow our eye. And if we want, while we do this, we can actually turn off CC Light Burst 2.5 by pressing this FX thing, just so we can make everything as perfect as possible. Because that is very important right now. We can worry about the light burst and just put it back on later. So we're just going to slowly and very calmly animate this. And it should be done in no time because it's not that long. So we're just going to animate this to our eye. And it's starting to look good, but we obviously need to accommodate for the little bit of movement we're having here, where it's just started kind of like going off a little bit. So we need to make sure that's about right, and that looks pretty good. So we're going to keep doing it backwards all the way down until our eye just like entirely is done. So we need to cover the entire thing, and make sure you do just like check every keyframe to make sure it's perfect, because sometimes it may just go wrong. And we don't want issues, do we? So she's going to start closing her eye here, because this is the point where she's starting to open her eye for the first time during this video. Which is cool, I guess. And obviously it's getting a little bit off here because you can see the white behind the Sharingan. This is why turning off CC Light Burst for this is very important, so you can see every single thing. It just makes everyone's life easier, right? So if we had our top layer here, we would animate our mask path to entirely cover this. And we could also, what we're doing is when this is coming in, we could literally just animate the opacity here by clicking on it. And then moving forward some and just turning it on as our eye starts to open, just to make, you know. So say here we just do like one keyframe right after, and we just turn it to 100% and turn this one to 0%. Then it would just turn on, but obviously we wouldn't see that because our eyelash would be animated over the top. So it would look nice. But as you can see, that's just how you fix that little part right there. And obviously as we do this, we need to check our tilt, because we need to make sure this is perfectly following the eye. So our tilt animation, we go to Effects, Basic 3D. Our first keyframe was here, so we need to check between that keyframe and this keyframe. So we'll do another one here, and we'll move our tilt round just a little bit to make sure it follows the eye. And obviously if we're going to do that, we do need to change our position keyframes to make sure they are just fixed a little bit. But yeah, that's basically the way you just get it to work in a 3D space in case anyone's head is tilted and it's not perfectly facing the camera. And that just looks really nice. So that's basically the final step to getting it to look really nice. And then you can turn Light Burst 2.5 back on. And it kind of just fits in with the eye really nicely. It's just very smooth and it looks great. So that is basically how you make a really nice looking Sharingan effect. Very realistic. Very realistic. And yeah, I hope you have fun with this one. I hope it goes well for you, and I hope you get something good out of this video. So if you want to, go and share this video with your friends so they know how to make this very epic Sharingan effect. Like the video and subscribe, because I may end up making some more videos like this. But anyway, I will see you later.